I call Ray Langenbach as my theory slave, because he's been my mentor in my doctorate and so generous in all aspects of my writing and thinking. First time we met in 2002 in Singapore when Jay Ko invited us in a participatory art symposium that really blew our minds. Originally Ray's from US, but he's been living almost 3 decades in Southeast Asia, mainly in Malaysia, like now. And his own work is something of theory, robots, human, animals, and creating new identities in his own performances. And so it's very hard to know what is true and what is not in his talking, thinking, and doing.
How do you watch the videos? My YouTube. I mean, how do you consume it?
Oh, it's a periodic thing, and once I start looking, then I look at several of them. But I mean, I think that your method is quite delicious. The 10-year gaps.
Mm-hmm.
So the montage of basically 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's quite delicious because it changes things. It forces us to read across the montage, across the temporal gap, and then like the one of Tuni. What is she doing? She's thinking of the one with the cat under the table right now, but it's not that one. It's a different one. The shoes. Where the first one is you kind of staring into space, or not staring, but meditating.
Mm.
And then the second one is Tuni with the shoes on the porch. And then down to you say, let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
And then the third one is Tuni cooking with friends in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That just, I don't know, that one really struck me because the temporal gap and the shoes which she can't put on, but she's copying somebody. She comes out, she drops them on the porch like you would do.
Yeah.
Before you put on your shoes. So she's copying older people in the way that they deal with the shoes. And then later, the one with the cat under the table is just absolutely wonderful. And the cat's avoiding her, but it's 2 4-footed people, 2 4-footed creatures, and trying to kind of, she's trying to meet the cat, but the cat doesn't want to meet. I can't remember the name of that cat.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. The body of the audience is completely gone. The audience is just a pair of eyes and ears.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else there. So and those eyes and ears are voyeuristic, completely voyeuristic. They're looking through a little peephole, of a hand phone, like I'm doing now. So this is an entirely different reality. It's so disembodied.
Yeah.
Do you compare the situation that we were present and showing the things, or?
Yeah. I mean, present and showing is the entirely opposite.
Yeah.
you are these bodies showing these to other bodies.
Yeah, I feel that very badly. And that was like also like we had really a big argument before I consented to this, putting it in internet at all, because of this missing body and to this exactly what you are saying. So I didn't, and also like we discovered like between us two that we see our art from a different perspective. Like Pekka as a video artist and myself as a performance artist. So I have always like considered in our art that we do together, the best part is the performative part. And now when that is missed, so what's there left? So that's why I decided not to be the author. And then that this is Pekka's thing and he is the video artist and I support his art, but I'm not part of it. Unless there is an event, like now. Because now I feel a part of this.
Nothing, where is this actually? Nothing important happened today. No, that's another one.
So what? Yeah, and?
Nothing, and if you take that sentence apart, right, in English, so nothing important did happen today. Nothing that is important did happen. It happened today. Right?
Yeah.
And that is such a beautiful representation of what you do.
Ei mitään tärkeää tapahtunut tänään. Rupeat sä kuvaa?
Yeah, so that's the beginning of it. It is nothing important, and that is exactly what happened today. Nothing important. Nothing which is important. Nothing which actually is important happened today.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
So nothing which actually is important happened today. That's that's the diary in a nutshell. The whole thing of the Jean Rouch in the dissertation, and how he likes. I think it's one of our discussions, and how I think I mentioned how he edits out the boring parts between the charismatic shots of the foaming mouths and the and you reiterate that.
Yeah.
That's the nothing that is important. It happened today. That it's what Jean Rouch edits out. Yeah, the nothing is cut away.
Yeah, it's all the.
So actually, your diary is about what Jean Rouch edits out.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, now I get it. Because, well, I just wanted to also ask about how you see my editing now. Because in these new ones, I tend to take more shots, and then it becomes kind of a documentary narrative. But actually, what I take in is usually, if I do some task, I usually leave the task away and take all the pauses and thinking what is in between. That's kind of my general rule when I'm kind of, when I'm filming or editing the activities. Because something that is kind of interesting or informative is in between, because everybody knows how it looks like to, to hit a nail or use a saw I mean, there's no interest to why to show that activity, but rather how do you prepare the thing that you do?
I was thinking, this is really interesting because there's a kind of Finnish transcription which is different than other languages transcription into English. I mean, English-Finnish, Finglish is different than Singlish. It's different than Manglish.
Yes,
they're all different. And it was very clear to me when I was reading the transcriptions, the subtitles.
Okay.
And I was enjoying them as that.
Okay.
That there's your way of dealing with English is quite idiosyncratic now and quite lovely. I really enjoyed it. When your syntax is not normal syntax in English, it's like an improvement. It's nice, and it communicates perfectly well. I think it's I did not have the feeling that I needed to I better rewrite
good.
this.
Thank you.
I mean, in the dissertation, it was a whole different thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a dissertation law. It was a book law, right?
Yeah,
but this is much more live.
Thank you for saying this, because this is something that I have been thinking about. When it's also like because the Google Translator translates word by word, and then and then I very often want to leave it as it is, because that's the way I would translate it, or even speak when speaking English, because then I thought that this would be nice, leaving and not normalize the syntax.
And why were you sad? There's another thing that I made a note about, but the issue of liveness, and the issue of the absent body of the audience, the ambivalent shots, and I was thinking about Auslander, and but it's I'm sure you read Auslander years ago, right?
Yeah, something, but yeah.
The whole issue of liveness. What is live? Not, that Leah, you didn't want to be involved unless it was live events. But the thing is all about liveness, actually. Auslander's liveness. That it's a technological, the techno-human. That the media is in between. But there's this moment when you looked sad. I couldn't tell if you were crying. And then an arm comes out of the side of the screen and touches your shoulder, and that's Pekka touching you. And I had the feeling he was doing that to make you feel okay. But it's an important moment in the whole video, because it's the only time, I think we're all very aware of how we don't touch during coronavirus. We don't shake hands anymore. We don't hug. We don't, and so when somebody touches somebody else, it's huge now. It really communicates very powerfully. And it's right during that discussion with Goa, and it looks like you're very sad. You're kind of, and my impression was that you were kind of mourning the kind of relationship that you had together when you were doing live events, and that this YouTube stuff was not satisfying that need. And then it's during that moment that Pekka touches you on the shoulder. But we don't see Pekka, we just see this arm come out of the side of the screen and touch your shoulder. But it's very strong. It's when Goa is talking about the internet as the guillotine.
Yeah.
So these events, they're simultaneous now. They're not the past. And that's what's so radical about the new method of putting three together, is that everything happens simultaneously now. Time is not sequential.
But is it kind of the nature?
That really comes clear when you have what are the most critical points in the history of mankind. You know, it's simultaneous.
But is that kind of the nature of the internet? That it's kind of reflecting the simultaneous, that everything is simultaneous. Is that internet?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it does. Yeah. There's this eternal presence of Facebook. You know, it's like I can still talk to Babette and Josh. I leave them notes. They've been dead now for years.
Yeah, yeah. You mean
but
in Facebook?
They're still alive on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
They are live in Facebook.
Oh, the page is there.
And you really go.
I've spoken to them I've left notes for them in Facebook.
Oh, really?
On their page.
Wow.
Yeah. So people used to pray to their lost ones, their dear ones. But now we leave notes for them on Facebook.
Yeah, it's ironic.